Hey, my name is Mackenzie. I am a sophomore in high school, and I am going to give you my testimony tonight. If you could put up the first slide. So this is a little bit about me. It's just a few parts of my life that are really important to me. I'm a daughter, a student, a sister, a friend, an athlete, but most importantly, I'm a Christian. I've been Christian my whole life. I grew up in the church, but being Christian wasn't always easy. I dealt with the term apathy or lukewarmness, which basically means that I wasn't fully living for God. I had to learn to make my faith my own, and I had to make that a priority in my life because without it, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And I think it was really important to make it a priority because without it, I wouldn't be who I am. Being a pastor's kid, I was always tied to my family and my dad and what everyone else thought about me, and those words really affected me for a long time. Finding myself in this situation, I had to dig myself out of it. I had to take myself as accountable, and I had to show how I could be my own person. The turning point in this journey was learning to not be ashamed and learning to just be alive and on fire for God. A lot of the things I did included inviting people to church, standing out, wearing clothes from church or teen camp or just anything Christian related, and just going out to people who aren't normally Christian, answering their questions, and being Jesus for people who weren't believers. A lot of the things I did to get out of this lukewarmness was listening to worship music, which I did before this. It was the only thing that was calming me. I pray a lot. Some of you know that I'm not a reader, but reading my Bible was one of the biggest things that changed. Growing in my faith was important, and I learned on this journey that Jesus didn't die for me to just be lukewarm. He died for me to be on fire, for believe in him. He doesn't want you to kind of believe in him, to kind of know him, to kind of want to be with him. He wants you to be in or out. And growing in my faith, it definitely was not linear. There was a lot of ups and downs, especially throughout school, especially throughout friendships, throughout everything I went through. It went up and down. It was never linear. But growing in my faith definitely taught me how to be myself. And that was a big thing for me to accept because for a long time, I didn't want to accept me as I was. I wanted to be someone else. I wanted to be who I wasn't. I wanted to fit in, and I didn't have stable friends for a long time, so I had to figure out how to be myself and grow in that. A few months ago, we did a sermon series on APEST, and my two ones were evangelism and shepherd, which evangelism basically means going out and spreading the gospel, and shepherd is basically like your typical mom friends. And if we were all like this, the church couldn't function correctly. If we didn't have apostles or teachers, there wouldn't be a really good way to connect, and we couldn't go everywhere and do everything that the church is supposed to. We couldn't be the hands and feet of Jesus. So I'm going to tell you some things that make me, that I had to accept and that I had to learn because, I'm not perfect. The first thing is that I'm a big crier. I cried at every movie ad, every sad TikTok about a puppy. It's everything. And that's just who I am. I just have a lot of emotion in me. The second thing is I just get random bruises everywhere. I can't change it no matter what I'm doing. I'll just find a random one. My most recent one was a really big one about this size on my ankle. I had one on my knee. I had one on my face actually a few months ago. Yeah, they just pop up out of nowhere. I really don't know. The third thing I wrote down is that no matter what day it is, no matter what time it is, whenever someone asks me what I want to eat, it'll always be pasta. That is just what makes me me. I love pasta so much. The last thing I wrote about is how I like smile in pictures. It's like my nose scrunch, and you can see it in the pictures on the slide. We don't have to put them up, but they're on like every single picture I take. It's just me, like my face is like scrunched. I had to learn to be different and unique, and I had to balance how hard it was to accept that, and I had to balance that it was also beautiful because God made me that way. God made me through all those things. I had to learn that I shouldn't hate myself for being who God made me. I had to learn that who I was special, and I had to learn that God was using me and he had a plan for me. A lot of the ways I can connect this is through a softball team. If everyone was like me on my team, if everyone was a third base cleanup hitter, there would be no bunts, there would be no steals, there would be no outfield diving plays, and there would not be very many wins. Being a part of a team that's different and being yourself on your team makes the team more successful. You are 1 in 400 trillion people. God created you on purpose, for a purpose, as we learned at teen camp. He made me me, and that makes the world go round. Using the team analogy, I started thinking about friends, and I thought about how bad friends and good friends affected me. And I wrote down how bad friends, they can lead to toxic life, bad choices, worse outcome, just overall a lower point in your life. But good friends can encourage you through struggles, lead you on a better trajectory, and make you overall happy. I had to walk away from people who weren't good for me so many times. I had to keep trying, and I had to learn that good friends can change your life. And I learned this through a lot of people, and I'm going to give you some examples. My first example are my friends that went to teen camp with me. They laughed with me, they worshiped with me, they prayed with me, they cried with me, and they held me as I cried, especially Thursday night when it was the big cry, pray night, and everyone was like crying everywhere. I saw people I never knew cried. It was the craziest thing I've ever witnessed. The second story I want to share is about how I found out I had anxiety. One of my friends, she had listened to a lot of my rants, and she saw me struggling, and she made me speak up. It was a big struggle to open up. I'm going to tell you right now, it was not easy at all. It took me about 5 years of just having it all in, having it in my head and my heart, and just not letting anyone know. It took me 5 years, throughout middle school, throughout high school, till now. I still deal with it. It was the biggest mental toll that God had ever put in my life, and it was the hardest thing I ever had to go through. This term is not diagnosed, but it's something someone told me. It's called sticky thoughts. Basically, they are bad ideas that stick in your head. They can be minutes, days, hours, weeks. It can range. I've had it all. I can't let them go until something else takes up my mind. I get so emotionally exhausted that I could just cry for hours. I cry until almost I can't breathe sometimes because that pain and that anxiety weighs so much on me. I always told myself that other people had it worse, or I wasn't bad enough to need help. And, if I got to a therapist, they might just laugh in my face because what I was going through wasn't the worst thing to go through. But through a lot of trial and error and finally speaking up, I'm currently on meds and I'm on the road to therapy. So, yeah. In the Bible, they tell us about anxiety. You can put up the first verse. Cast all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. This verse shows us how God cares, and you have to learn to give up those anxieties to get better. I had to pray so many times, and I had other people pray for me. I just had everything you could think of, I had to do to finally get to this point where I actually gave it to him, and I actually let him take over my life, and I let him work through my anxieties. Through all this, God never left me. You can put up the next verse. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you, and I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. You are not alone, which is a lot of what I thought. I thought I was alone. I thought I was the only one who was like this, and I thought no one would care if I let them in. I needed to figure out that he is all-knowing and ever-present, and he promised to never leave us. He promised to never forsake us either. He is the ultimate friend. Out of all the people I've ever met, he is the one true one that stayed. His perspective was the one that I had to learn that mattered. I had to embrace that, and it changed my life. When I realized that he was the one that was going to, judge me in the end, and I gave up everything about me, and I let him work through me, I became happier. I became healthier. I got better grades. My anxieties went down less, and I really learned that when I gave it to him, he used me in ways that I could have never guessed. I had to learn that there was a strength in being different, and I had to learn that it was like a superpower almost, how being different and being you and being unique, everyone is different, and everyone has those strengths, and everyone has those weaknesses, and it all, as a collective, can make us better if we use each other to build up on that and just kind of be who we are. You can put up the last verse. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, I know that full well. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Being you is beautiful. It's the most beautiful, ultimate person you can be. God made you to be the way that you're supposed to be. Your bad days, your hard days, your good days, they're all you, and they make you you. Your story matters.